Hello, viewers in the chat. It is the final day of UKSM Live. It always hurts me to say that on some level. It's very bittersweet to say the final day, because on the one hand, it's the last day of an incredible event. On the other hand, we've got a whole day of incredible speedruns, and the very first of those is going to be RuffledBricks with Worm's Armageddon in the all missions any percent category. Now, of course, we are doing all of this for special effect, so if at any point during the stream you do want to donate, all you need to do is !donate in the chat. I'm not going to natter on for too long about that though, because it is the wee early hours of the afternoon, so I don't want to get too much into it right now. What I do want to get into is the first speedrun of the day, so let's hand things over to RuffledBricks, and you can take it over whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much, Matt, and welcome to this speedrun of the 1999 turn-based strategy classic Worm's Armageddon. I'm RuffledBricks, and we are going to be doing a all missions any percent run of this game. The basic gist of this run is we are going to have to complete all 33 of the missions in the game, as well as all 9 of the basic training modules. And the any percent category means that we're allowed to get a gold, silver or bronze medal for any of the missions, which is denoted by how many attempts we take at doing each mission. The reason we have to do the basic training modules before we start is if you try and go into the missions with your new team straight off the bat, then you get a very condescending message from the details here saying there's no room for rookies here. So rather than kick up a fight, I'm going to just go into basic training and get it started. And we're going to start the run in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, basic training is basically just a primer for all the main weapons that we're going to be using in the game. We start with the grenades there. Grenades have a fuse that can be set between 1 and 5 seconds. We just used 1 second for those ones there. This is the shotgun training. Shotguns basically shoot in a straight line from where you're standing. And as you can see, mostly this is just target practice at this stage. This is bazooka training. Bazookas are one of the few weapons in the game that are affected by the wind. There's a wind gauge in the bottom right-hand corner if you want to see what strength and what direction the wind is going in. Here's the ninja rope. Ninja rope is one of the most frequently used utilities, and I'm going to have to do that again because I just slightly overshot my position there. But yeah, with ninja ropes you get an infinite amount of shots per rope, so you can just swing all the way across the battlefield like so. You only get an infinite amount of shots in all missions though. In other speedrun categories you will not be able to do that. Second grenade training here. This one we get an extra target on here, which we have to upgrade the grenade to 2 seconds of the fuse there to get the third target. And here's the fire punch here, and this fire punch is basically the game's nod to Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. As you can see, it's basically just like a dragon punch from that game, and the default voice pack actually says the word "sure you can" when doing that as well. So this is the second ninja rope training here, where we just grab that crate, drop dynamite onto the target there, and boom. And something we're doing at the end of each training module, by the way, is we're actually hitting Alt and F4. Reason that we're doing that, we're going to do this during the missions as well, is Alt and F4 takes you back to the menu. Now, if you do it at any point, generally during a mission or training module, then you will just reset. The game will count it as a fail. However, if you do it during the fade out, right at the end of the mission, once you've completed it, then the game still considers that to be a win. And this target here is a little bit difficult, but yeah, that's a little trick that we call fade skip, basically. Oh, and why are we not getting this target? Come on, lad. Over we go, and that's it. There we go, and then straight up like that, and booyah. And that's the end of the basic training. So into all missions that we go, and we're starting off with this mission here, Pumpkin Problems. Now, the idea with this mission is we have to grab a crate from the right-hand side of the level. There's an arrow pointing to it there, just so that we can see. So it's that one there. And what I did there was I just dropped my worm onto a mine there. So we tanked some damage and it created a little gap so that we can get through. You notice we have enemy worms in this mission as well. But the enemy worm had the first turn, couldn't actually shoot us, so they just skipped their go. And boom, we're into mission number 2, Operation Market Garden. Starting this one off with a pixel perfect grenade shot here. 2 seconds, bouncing this grenade off the 2 petals and knocking all these worms into a pile like that. Piling is a very important technique in this game because the more worms you have in a pile, the more you can damage them at the same time. Now this game is quite RNG influenced, mainly in terms of the enemy worm behaviour. So they tried to shoot at us there, they didn't manage it, and that means I can do this shot here where we bounce a grenade over to them. It's going to knock them through the terrain and hit that mine down there. And we've managed to get a triple kill out of that. As you can see, Grenadier still has 4 damage, 4 HP left, but when worms die on land in this game, they actually have a grave explosion that will do up to 25 damage on any worms next to them. Something to note about that mine as well is that mines in this game detect activity around them every 10 frames. So because of that, that shot can go one of a number of ways. Fortunately, it went well. Now, the Grenadier there has actually blown up my petal there that I was using for deflecting shots, which is irritating because it means I now have to take a different angle to try and kill them off. But let's just see if we can get it. Firing a grenade up like that, and there we go, knocking the Grenadier just down like that. So you can get this mission done in 4 turns. You can even get it done in 3 if the CPU RNG is particularly self-destructive, but it doesn't look like it's going to be on this occasion. And then I'm going to change 2's angle of shot here. Actually, I'm going to need to change it to this, I believe, just because the enemies have damaged the watering can a bit more than I would like. So there we go. Dropping a 4-second grenade down onto the Grenadier there. They've now only got 5 health, so we should be able to kill them off in the next turn, depending on where they end the turn. And there's a grenade there. That's going to hit 2 squarely on the noggin there, but that should be okay. And then just going to spam another grenade here at the same height, same trajectory, and there we are, straight on Grenadier's head. And you'll notice that there was a fade to black there. Basically, whenever you get the last shot in on a mission, then the game gives you an instant replay. We just mash through those because, as vain as I am, there's no real need to bask in what we've just done. Now, I reset that mission, this one here, All Quiet in the Library, 4 times before I started it. The reason being that every time you lose a mission, the game actually keeps track of that, and the more times you fail a mission, the more it will try to help you out by giving you extra crates. So because of that, because we reset it 4 times, it's given us 4 crates at the beginning rather than just 2 that you would normally get. And this enables us to do the first trick that I'm going to do here with a baseball bat. So just going to move here, and there we are. So what I did there was I knocked the captain off the side of that crate on Worm 2's head there, knocking the Grenadiers into the water as we speak, and a nice easy triple kill that you can only get if you reset the mission 4 times. That does mean that we get a bronze medal for this mission rather than a gold, but as I say, it's any percent, so that's fine. This Grenadier always tends to aim towards 3 based on the worm formation I have here, and he's landed in absolutely the worst possible place that he could, so it's good to know that the RNG is on our side today. So I'm going to attempt a little move here to try and get some order here. It's called a baseball bat trick. What I'm going to do is just try and aim for a very specific pixel here. So what I did there, the reason I had the ninja rope going there first of all is because baseball bats can only aim so high as per their default firing positions. However, if you aim higher than the baseball bat's maximum position, with a different weapon, then if you then jump into the air and change to the baseball bat, it will then enable you to fire the baseball bat at the angle that you had the previous weapon at. So it hasn't solved all our problems here. This field soldier has crawled out of the pile because he clearly knows what's about to happen. But yeah, we've got the least optimum RNG for this this mission possible, thanks to Grenadier's position here. Now what I'm doing over here, a crate has landed to the left here. It's a double damage crate. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to do an airstrike, which is a series of aerial missiles. Like so, and with the double damage crate that can cause big damage, and we actually did kill Grenadier there, so despite him being in a terrible position, we have managed to style it out. We also killed a few of our worms in the process. Oh, just the one by the looks of it. But yeah, that's the middle two killed, and now we have to do one extra turn just to get rid of the field soldier there. But it's fine. We've got a spare ninja rope, so it could be worse. This is the arsenal that we have, by the way. I'll try and show that for each mission, just so you can see what we're working with. But most of the weapons I actually select via the keyboard shortcuts. So I may not always be able to show it. So field soldier going down here and just going for a little bazooka there. Just trying to think what the best way of killing him off is. Probably a mine, or actually no, maybe I'm going to use a little trick here called cluster trick. And I didn't realise it was 4's go as well. Right, so basically the way cluster trick works is we're going to use a cluster bomb. Actually no, are we going to be able to do this? Because he is in the most awkward position possible here, so I think I'm going to chance it with the mine instead and hope for the best. Don't worry about the cluster trick explanation. We will end up using it later on in the run. Dropping a mine on here, on the left-hand side of his head, hopefully. There we are. It just gave enough propulsion there to get him out of the arena. So yeah, not a particularly optimum version of that level, unfortunately. But as I say, the enemy behaviour in this game is quite RNG-led. So this mission is called Cool as Ice. The guard here is trying to blow up the South Pole. So what we did is we just shot those crates above the guard there with an Uzi, and the flames from them dropped down. Actually one-shotted him, put him into the water. A lot of the time that won't happen. You'll only get you have to take an extra turn to shoot him in, but we were lucky on that occasion. So the RNG, what it taketh away, it also giveth. Now this mission is pretty tough. I'm going to try and do the hard strat on this level first. So this is called Do the Locomotion. What I did there was a fire punch on that sniper there. And if you look really carefully, you can see that there is a 1 pixel spur at the bottom of the tunnel that I made there. That's going to enable us to actually jump up to the that little fragmented part of the tree there. Just get the right pixel for the jump. There we go. Like so. And we're now going to attempt a bungee. So let me just concentrate on this, because this is actually pretty hard, this move. And there we go. So what we did there was use the bungee to fling myself up onto the locomotion train, like so. Took quite a lot of damage there from the mine there, but the important thing is we got up there. There's also a safer and sometimes quicker strat that you can do there, where you just grab the crate on the tree and use a girder to get up onto the train there. But the bungee version can be quicker, and it's generally more swag. And then we just grab in that utility crate there that contains a jetpack. Jetpack's basically the number that you see above a jetpack when it's going, just indicates how much fuel that it has left. But yeah, that was a grab the crate mission as well. Sorry, I'm not explaining very well what the object of most of these missions are. Most of the object of these missions is to kill off all the enemy worms in them, and this one is included. Although sometimes you just have to grab a certain crate, or sometimes you only have to kill off one enemy worm, like you just have to kill the leader. Anyway, so setting that mine off there, that's going to send a mine over to kill off the field soldier to the left there. You're not actually going to see that on screen, because I'm focusing on just bazookaing these 2 sentries at the moment. This mission's called Sand in Your Eye. And this has a weird sort of plot to it, because what it says you're supposed to do in the briefing is you're actually supposed to grab a crate that's going to fall on top of this pyramid after about 7 turns, I think it is, maybe 6. But grabbing that crate doesn't actually trigger the end of this mission. Killing all the enemy worms does. So we're just going to do that before the crate even arrives. And we're going to use a longbow here, which just shoots. It's like a shotgun. You get 2 shots with it, but it just shoots the enemy worms with arrows. That first one there, as you can see, just knocking Field Soldier straight into the water like so, with the mine going in with it. And then the second shot with the longbow, we're going to try and use it to kill off these 2 sentries with quite a tough shot on this mine here. So just get in a position, and then 1, 2, 3. So there we are. What we did there is we knocked the mine onto the sentries there, killed off one of them, and then the grave damage there is actually blowing up the first aid crate. And whenever you blow up a crate, as you saw in the ice cap mission, then it actually does cause a big explosion around it. So that just enabled us to one-shot both of those worms right there. Now we've got a very tough move coming up called a rope knock, where we're going to try and knock this secret agent into a hole that we're going to make with a grenade using the spare ninja rope that we have here. Now this is very tough, so I need to make sure, or try and make sure, that I don't whiff this. Just get the angle right, and then... And there we are, like that. So basically, rope knocking is something you can do a lot of in multiplayer games of this game. In all missions, rope knocking is technically disabled. However, if you time a rope knock so that it happens just after the turn time is over, then it will allow you to do it. If you do that beforehand, then it will just sort of velcro all of the worms to the ground, so that they won't actually be moved. So yeah, very tough strat to time that. This one's called Not Mushroom out there. We have to grab this crate in the bottom right-hand corner. As you see, we've got very little at our disposal there. I reset the mission once so that we got a girder starter pack. That just enabled us to pave over the sky with some girders. And that means that we can now use our 1 ninja rope here to just swing across to about here, grabbing this crate, which contains a teleport, and then we're just going to teleport straight onto the crate. Like that. There's also a 1-turn version of that mission you can do, where you actually lay the girders whilst you're on the ninja rope, but that's you only have 5 seconds to travel across the entirety of the terrain there. So yeah, very hard. I'm no good at that strat whatsoever. This mission's called Big Shot. Main gimmick with this one is, well, it's said in the briefing for this you have an infinite amount of shotgun bullets. You actually don't. But what you do have is longbows again. And I'm going to use the first turn of this mission to just kill off these 2 worms nearby here. I'm doing that using the longbow. Longbows only do 15 health damage per arrow. So what we're doing to actually bump up the damage is we're just shooting these 2 worms into nearby mines in order to kill them off like so. And the mines can do about 45 up to 47 damage depending on how close the worms are to the collision, so that brings them over. Now, a little bit of AI manipulation here. So this worm here, if you put my worm where I put him, always walks to the left there, does an Uzi shot, stands next to that mine at the very end of their turn. And that's useful because it means we're actually now able to kill that worm off as part of this turn, and then kill the worm off on the other side as well. What we're going to do, just set that mine off there, that knocks a sentry over like that, and then set the mine off that they'd landed next to, and the combined damage of that is more than 40, so that will actually kill the sentry off. However, that damage is not going to be counted until we actually get off the ninja rope and finish the turn. And so while we're on the rope here, grabbing this crate which contains an old woman, who I'm just going to release there, and she's going to nag for 5 seconds and then just blow up the guard with a strong explosion that can do up to 75 damage at point blank range. 71 there, so we killed them off, and as you can see now, the game's counting up the damage on the sentry as well. So nice little 2-turn mission for you there. Now, next mission is called Water Surprise. This is quite a hard one for casual players, actually, but not too bad for speedrunning. First thing we're going to do is we are going to get these mines off of the Eiffel Tower using a couple of very specific longbow shots here. Knocking that one off, jumping backwards here just to set up the angle for the second mine. And we're going to tank some damage from that one there, but both of our worms will survive. The object of this mission is to kill off this general, who is hiding underneath the Eiffel Tower there. Thinks he's indestructible, but we'll show him. Now, I need to place this girder in a fairly specific position. I'm going to go with here. What we're doing is, in order to kill the general off, as you can see, we don't have much in the way of weapons. So we're going to get that crate on top of the Eiffel Tower, which contains a weapon called an aqua sheep. Which is basically a variant of the famous super sheep enemy from this game, which is a flying sheep that can basically you can fly them into an enemy worm and cause lots of damage. However, we're going to use ours in a slightly different way to intended here. So we're going to throw him off, launch it, but then deactivate the flying aspect of the sheep straight away, and that makes it drop down, and the explosion of the sheep is big enough that it actually just knocks the general straight into the water like that. Because you notice the terrain in that mission was indestructible, but the explosion was big enough that it could still go through it. Now, a quick one-turn mission here if all goes well. This is called Jurassic Worm. We're going to... This is a kill the leader mission. The leader is the captain who is between this dinosaur's legs. We're using a mole bomb here, which is a mole that just digs through, and then we'll do a small explosion when we get to the bottom there. You notice we also set off a mine, which actually knocked that adjacent mine down the tunnel as the mole was going down, which just blew up the captain, put them in the water. Every enemy worm just surrenders. Like so. Now, this mission is called Chemical Warfare. I'm aware that I've been rabbiting on for quite a bit here, so we do have a little bit of time for a donation or any discussion about donations, Matt, if you'd like to do that during this mission.
Of course, we haven't had any donations just yet, but do remember, guys, we are doing this to raise money for the fantastic charity Special Effect. If you do want to donate, all you need to do is ! donate in the chat. It will bring up the donation link. Who are Special Effect and what do they do? You may be asking yourself, why should I give my money to this cause? Well, Special Effect are a brilliant charity who create and distribute custom gaming peripherals to disabled gamers so that they can play the video games that they love to play. And when I say custom, I really do mean custom, because they create individualized pieces of gaming tech specifically for people with specific disabilities, as in they will go and see what that person's disability are and then create a custom solution for that person. It's expensive work, so every little helps. Please do donate if you can. A brilliant, brilliant cause.
Thank you very much, Matt. So, this mission is called Chemical Warfare. The idea with this one is this terrain here is all indestructible, and the worms are kind of holed up inside it, as you can see. They don't have much health, though. And so what we've been doing is, you notice they have 30 health there. We've been using a fire punch because the hitbox of the fire punch actually does transcend the thinner parts of the terrain. And fire punch also does a minimum of 30 damage upon impact. So we're using that to kill off some of the more holed-in worms. Now, worm 4 here, we're going to use a baseball bat to get the field soldier out of there and into the water. Like so, you notice the baseball bat there has a very large hitbox, so we're able to do that from a fair distance from the worm. And now this is the moment of truth here. So this major is in a terrible position where they're holed up in, and we want to try and manipulate them into walking to the right here, which we have done. And also they've just done an airstrike there, and they've inadvertently hit one of their comrades by the flames from that first aid crate. Not a insta-kill, sadly, but that's good. And the reason we want the major to walk to the right there is because we got a dynamite crate from resetting this mission once before we started it. And the dynamite is powerful enough so that it actually can blow up both of these majors at the same time. I know this level's called Chemical Warfare, but that's a step too far. So yeah, we just have to finish off this field soldier now. I was doing an airstrike there. As you can see, the CPU shots aren't terribly effectual in this one. They only have a limited amount of weapons, the enemies, in each battle, and sometimes they just don't really know how best to use them. We'll go with the fire punch just to keep this consistent. Tried to jump out of the way there because the grave damage from the field soldier is going to add a little bit of time onto the mission here. But the jump probably just added even more time, so I shouldn't have tried it, but hey ho. This mission is called No Substitute. And this features probably one of the most famous weapons in the game. It is, of course, the Lord's favourite grenade, the Holy Hand Grenade. And we're going to use that as our first turn on this to try and get a triple kill on these some of these enemies here. So I'm just going to pop the grenade down here and jump back onto it like that. And that blows both these worms up into the air. Worm 1 just going to knock the field soldier down into the water like that. And then the artillery worm, who's landed on top of the palm tree here, has landed next to the field soldier. And their grave damage is basically just going to knock them into the water like so. So yeah, that is a nice efficient triple kill to open that. You'll notice that with some of the moves, I'll be doing little jumps here and there before I actually do the move. This is just to achieve the optimum position for those moves quickly, because otherwise it can be very difficult with all the nudging and stuff. 3 got one-shotted there by Field Soldier. That's absolutely fine. It adds a little bit of time to the mission if that happens, but it doesn't actually affect it, because to just finish off the mission now, I am going to, if the keyboard stops eating my notches, I'm going to shoot that field soldier. Notches, by the way, are just each individual movement you can make with when targeting. I'll be using the phrase notching quite a bit throughout this run. So we shot that field soldier down, and then I'm just going to jump across to here. You'll notice the water has been rising ever so slightly between each turn as well. Not really a problem in this mission as we shoot the major down into there, but in the next mission that is going to come into play quite hardcore. So this mission is called Who Let the Floodgates Open. Now we're using a select worm item there just so we can go straight to worm 2 to start things off, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a 3-second grenade, and we're actually changing the bounce on this grenade as well. Let me just see, where is... I think I had it then. That'll have to do. 1, 2, 3 jumps backwards, and then, yes, so you can change the bounce of a grenade between minimum and maximum. And as you can see, what we did there is we used the maximum bounce there to just bounce the grenade up to that secret agent, knocking them down, and it knocked the mine onto the left-hand secret agent there as well, so they both end up in that little pit. And as you can see, the water rises quite a lot between each turn in this mission. So both those secret agents are going to die. Now this field soldier, you might think he has a chance to escape, but because of where we've put worm 1 there, we just left him there as bait. So he's going to die there, that's fine. But it actually lures the field soldier into standing down there with the secret agent. So we're able to actually get 3 kills off the back of that 1 grenade. Using a girder here to get up to this field soldier, just because although we do have ninja ropes in this mission, we don't have access to them for the first 3 turns. So if we want to get to high ground, we have to use other means. Now, the top 2 secret agents here, these ones on the left, very RNG influence there. And as you can see, that one hit himself, which is a blessing and a curse, actually. Because although it's good when he hits himself, the position he's landed in is actually probably going to affect the other secret agent's turn. So using a baseball bat there to knock the field soldier in. Now usually we'd stay up here to manipulate the left-hand secret agent to trying to blow a hole in the cables. However, because that upper secret agent is at the position where they'd normally shoot, I think secret agent may be forced to do something else instead. By the way, as you've probably noticed, a lot of these worms have very similar names, these enemy worms here, so so there may be a lot of me saying, well, Secret Agent didn't do something, but Secret Agent did. Right, what are we doing here? Right, so this part of the mission here on in is pretty much YOLO City, because you just have to work with whatever the configuration is of these secret agents here. And I am going to... what are we going to do here? I'm going to do a minigun, which is a very powerful machine gun here. Can do up to 100 damage if you use it at close range. But this should do... yeah, it's a 77. That's more than enough on that secret agent now. And the grave damage is there, just opened up a gap there so that we can now get to this secret agent. Now we need to see what they're going to do. I don't think they can get out the compound, so... but they did get a bazooka on us. Absolutely fine, though. We landed in a good position. And I'm going to use another minigun, actually, to try and kill off this secret agent here. Just because the damage rolls were pretty good on the last one, so... and as you can see, I shot the crate there as well, just to get enough damage on them, but didn't even need to worry about that because they went straight down the hole. So there, we managed to kill off those last two secret agents in 2 shots, which is pretty optimum. Actually, very pleasing. This mission is called Super Sheep to the Rescue. We have to collect a crate using this Super Sheep, and that crate will enable us to kill off the guard in this mission. So there you are, just guiding the Super Sheep round the cavern here. And we actually reset the mission once, so you get a nearer crate to the one that spawns in the mission originally. And something to note about this mission is you used to be able to cheese this mission when the game first came out, because most missions in this game don't care if your worms survive on the last turn. They only care if the enemy worms get killed off or your objective gets fulfilled. But they actually patched that out of this particular mission, so you have to survive that one in order for it to be a victory. This mission is called Hot Stuff. Main gimmick with this one is we have 3 worms here who have 300 health each, which is quite a lot. So to kill them all off, we're going to create the biggest explosion in the entire run here. Once again, we're using the Holy Hand Grenade. We also grabbed a double damage crate here. And then I'm just going to do some lining up there. 2, 3, just nudging back 4 pixels, dropping the Holy Hand Grenade there, moving back 1. And this explosion here, huge as you can see. So Field Soldier goes, or Field Marshal goes in. That Field Marshal gets knocked in with a mine, and then my worm there has actually landed next to this Field Marshal, and it's taken so much damage that the grave damage is going to knock the Field Marshal in. You notice the jumps that we did and the movements before we'd set that up were very specific. This is because you have to do that to put your worm in the specific quarter pixel range to make that move work consistently. If you don't do that, then there's only a 52% chance of that move actually going right. So, but with that, you get a 100% chance. This mission is called Trouble on Mount Wormwall. As you can see, it's a monument dedicated to some of the most influential worms who ever lived. Ooh, and let's do a reset on that one, because I forgot to do a jump there that would have made that that ninja rope go better. So yeah, this one is a kill the leader mission. The leader is on the bottom left of the level. I'm just going to do what we call the crawl method to get across this mountain here. We only have 2 ninja ropes, you see, so I can't really get interrupted by these mines. And there we are. See, and there's the general who we need to kill off there, just hidden away underneath the Mount Wormwall sign. I'm going to use a weapon called a kamikaze to deal with him, where basically your worm just fires themselves in a trajectory like that, killing themselves off, knocking the worm into the tunnel that they make. All the other worms surrender. And then the next mission is the 3rd and final kill the leader mission. And again, this is one where we're going to reset it 4 times to generate a certain crate drop. This one is called Shadow Assassin. And this has probably one of the most fun strats in the entire game, this one. Even though, again, I think as a casual level, this one was pretty difficult. Basically, so we're grabbing that utility crate there, which contains a low gravity, and I'm just going to set up a girder about here, and doing a couple of jumps just to set this worm into position for the next turn. The worm that we have to kill is this general in the bottom right hand corner. Now, these worms can't actually attack us for several turns, so we don't need to worry about them. What I am going to do now is I'm going to set up the low gravity. So as you... Oh, get off me too. So we're going to just jump up here. And we need to create a very specific crate in order to be able to pull this strat off. It is the one just on the right of this rooftop here, which is the fire punch. Switching worm back to worm 2, as we've got the switch worm facility here. And then we do a fire punch on 3 there, so it launches them off the oil drum into the general, knocking them into the water like that. Yeah, worm 2 got killed as well, and the major there just surrenders because they just looked at us and think like, well, can't compete with that. One of the best strats in the game. I love that one. This mission is called Rescue Agent Dennis. As you can see, it takes place in the Team 17 offices in Wakefield. If you go there, that's exactly what they look like. The premise of this mission, as you can see, Worm 1 is playing the part of Agent Dennis, a particularly gifted mercenary, but not very bright. So we need to help get him to safety from this 1 versus 8 ambush that he's ended up in. We have loads of weapons to choose from in this mission, so it's one of the more fun ones because there's a lot of different ways you can approach this. Using a homing missile here. As you can see, with the homing missile, you set the crosshairs to where you want the missile to go and then just fire it out. And we did that there so that actually that field soldier or field marshal, whatever their name was, knocked the other one in at the same time. So very specific angle on that. Our worm has a lot of health on this one, so we can tank quite a lot of damage from the enemies. But you'll notice they all, if you look down the bottom next to the team names, you notice they have a number. It's the number 5. The number next to each team denotes their CPU level. And their CPU level basically dictates how accurate their shots will be. I'm going to use a napalm strike here to deal with these worms here. So there we go. We knocked both the assassin and the field marshal. Was hoping this assassin would get knocked down with the general as well, because that would then enable us to do a 4-turner here. But to no avail. But yeah, the CPU levels in this game are between 1 and 5. So 5's the most accurate, 1 is the least accurate. And so when you've got CPU 5, generally the worms will pretty much do everything they can to, ensure that you tank something fierce. Now let's see what we're going to do. So I need to get assassin down into the pile there. I'm just thinking what the best way is to do that. Let's just go over a quick shotgun. Took some damage myself there as well, but as I say, I didn't need the second shot of the shotgun in this particular turn. Because what we're doing to kill off these last 2 worms is we're going to use a little technique called banana trick. So remember I was talking about cluster trick earlier. Banana trick is a variant of it. Basically a banana bomb, when it explodes, it releases several bananas into the air. Very high power, do a lot of damage. However, if we do a banana bomb just underneath me standing on the edge of a worm like that, all of the little bomblets explode on the spot there and do a huge amount of damage and knock them into the water. You notice my worm died there as well, but as I mentioned in a previous mission, the game doesn't really care if your worms die on the last turn, just as long as the enemy dies as well. Even in a mission called Rescue Agent Dennis, we actually don't need to rescue Agent Dennis, oddly enough. This mission is called Horny Nuke, for reasons that I really don't understand. This is kind of a shopper mission, this one, in that you don't start with many weapons at all, so we're actually grabbing a bunch of crates here just to boost our arsenal a bit. And then... oh, where's the pixel? There it is. Okay. So, 2-second grenade there, just to knock artillery into the guards so that they both fall into a pile there. And I use the force of the grenade to propel one to the right as well, because one is going to tackle the sniper to his right next. So, another grenade trick in rapid succession here. Just pop in the grenade there. And that's going to knock the sniper into the other sniper, popping them together into a little pile there so that we can just kill them off together. Now, The reason we've got these 4 worms on the left here into a pile is we're going to try and use banana trick on them at the end of this mission as well. Just dropping a grenade there, and something to note about this mission is you only get 2 seconds of retreat time after every move that you do. In most missions you actually get 3 to 5 seconds of retreat time, but this one you have very low time to actually move after you've done your move. So as you can see, I used the retreat time there to just fling one over to the left there, so he's a bit closer to where I want him to go next. Just about got away with it on that occasion. Now the pile here is starting to disperse slightly, so I may need to rectify that in a bit before I do the banana trick. First thing though is another holy hand grenade, actually possibly the last of the run. Throwing it there next to that crate, just to try and get artillery there. We're going to get some fire damage. I don't think we're going to one-shot artillery though on this occasion. Not quite. 93. And something to note, by the way, is that like Sand in Your Eye, this is a mission where you're supposed to get a crate. In this case, it's the one right below where we're standing. But again, it doesn't actually trigger the end of this mission. Just killing the enemy worms does. However, if you do blow up that crate, then it actually does fail the mission as a result. So that's why with some of these high-powered stuff, we're doing them in a very specific way so that they go nowhere near the crate in question. So I'm going to add an extra turn here just to Uzi Grenadier into the pile here, because this banana trick needs to work, basically, otherwise it's straight back to the beginning. Grenadier moving to the right here. And something to note actually about the movement in this game, the enemy movement, is they do have a rightward bias most of the time, like in that they will mostly try and move to the right as much as they can. So we can use that to actually help set this up. But here we are, just setting up the banana trick. Like that, huge explosion. Everyone, I believe, gets total. Yes, even the guard. So there we are. Quite a tough mission, that one. There's lots of very intricate little moves here and there that you just need to make sure you get them right. And also you have to be careful a little bit with your ninja ropes as well, because you can very easily run out if you're not paying attention. But again, another one where we lost our worm in the process, but still counts as a success. So now this mission is called A Rumble in the Farmyard. First thing we're going to do here is I'm going to do a bazooka shot on this mine over here on top of the garden fort. That's going to knock it onto the field soldier like that. And I've just thrown my worm onto that mine there as well, just to propel them a little bit closer to where this field soldier is, as that's who I want to tackle on his next turn. Artillery there, firing a bazooka at one there. Tank's a little bit of damage, but shouldn't be anything. 30 left, so yeah, he's a little bit vulnerable. So now we go on to our ninja rope. And I'm using a rope fling here just to get my worm across a large swathe of the battlefield just quicker. Can be a little tricky to do that rope fling there. You have to very much get the timing right. Dropping a dynamite there, and then I'm just clipping into artillery by dropping onto them, because as I mentioned, rope knocking isn't allowed in this. So what happens is if you try to knock a worm, then you just sort of clip through them instead. And that's going to enable this next move that I'm going to do with Captain and Artillery to go a lot better. First thing to do though is I'm going to drop a grenade here. 1 second there, and I'm just doing a little backflip jump there so that Worm doesn't take the full brunt of it, but I can still do a quick 1 seconder. That's piled the 2 field soldiers together by knocking one of them through the hole that we made earlier. So let's see. Now here's where we're going to do cluster trick. Just trying to figure out the best angle for this, because the configuration is slightly scuffed. But there we go. So very much like the banana trick, that one. We just pop the cluster bomb, which sends loads of little bomblets out underneath my worm's bottom there. And it just blew, all the clusters blew up at the same time, causing enough damage to kill off both of these worms simultaneously. These field soldiers here are only armed with Uzi guns, so they're not going to be able to do anything to my last worm, which means that I can then just ninja rope over to them and drop a grenade on their head, and that will kill them both off at the same time. Now, as this is one of the missions actually that we have had quite a lot of work on recently. There's been some work done to turn this actually into a 4-turner rather than a 5-turner, but haven't had a chance to actually learn that strat yet. So, still doing the old one on that, just for safety. This mission is called Wooden Ambush. Another sort of a shopper mission, this, although you do actually get a fair amount of weapons. We're using our jetpacks here to just get over here. We're sending a sheep down into this area here, just so that we can cause a big crater there. Sheeps, basically, you can manually detonate them whenever you like. So we just sent them down and created that big crater there so that these 2 field soldiers are now near to the water. You notice in some missions, by the way, we can actually switch between worms at the beginning of the turn, and this is one of them. The enemy can as well. And what I've done is I've positioned one in a position whereby he's so high up that it actually means that these field soldiers aren't going to want to try and hit them, so the ones on the left move instead. And that's very important for the final move of this mission. But here we go, just sending a grenade down this gap here, and both of them went in, so that's good. Sometimes, depending on their landing positions there, that grenade will only knock one of them into the water, and it can be a bit fiddly to deal with them otherwise. But on that occasion, got them both. And then, as you can see, the field soldier there is still forced to fire at 4, given that that's the nearest worm to them. So they've now actually opened a hole in the terrain, whereby we can now just jetpack in, and I'm going to use a grenade down here, dropping it on my feet, walking across, and the explosion is going to knock my worm into the field soldiers, knocking them into the water, like so. Now, coming up is probably the scariest strat, at least for me, in the run. This level is called Go Bananas. We're going to do a trick with a grenade here to try and launch my worm across the terrain. Like so. There we are. So what you do there is you drop the grenade at your feet, you jump just as the grenade explodes. That propels you all the way over the banana there, so we can actually, on the next turn, grab that crate that's in the bottom left, as that is the object of this mission. That is a really tough strat to do, that grenade trick. It takes a lot of learning the rhythm in order to be able to get that right. And also, you only get really a few attempts. You only get like 5 attempts to do that that move quickly, because otherwise after that the mission starts plonking a double damage crate onto the stalk of the grapes, and as you can probably imagine, that doesn't really suit the grenade trick that well. This mission is called Drop Zones. We're setting this one 4 times because it gives us a crate with shotguns in it, which helps us kill off these island worms on this much easier. I'm going to go line up a very specific angle here, and 3, 2, shot him there. Oh, and was just slightly too late for the move I was going for there. So what happens is you can shoot that field soldier that I just shot there in a way so that he bounces off the mine and then knocks the field soldier on the next island into the water as well. However, you only have a certain frame range within each turn to kind of do that. And so what I was trying to do was trying to time the shot so that it happened right at the beginning of the second on the counter in the bottom left-hand corner. Didn't manage it, unfortunately, no, so that's going to give us an extra turn on this mission, but that's okay. So, using the terrain here to line up these shots, because... eating my notches again, dang you! Because, as you can see, it's quite long distance here, but as long as you get the shot right, then you can actually do that, like so, without missing. So we've got that shot in, and then just going to try and line up. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. So killed the captain off as well. And then we're just going to need to take one more turn here to deal with these 2 field soldiers. The way that you're supposed to do this mission, by the way, is you have an infinite amount of parachutes, and you have 5 suicide bombers and a fire punch. So you're supposed to float all your worms down to the individual islands and use the suicide bombers to just blow the enemy worms into submission, but we ain't got time for that. So that's why we reset the mission 4 times. And then just fire punching that one field soldier into the other field soldier there so that we can just clear the area. Now the next mission is can be quite the run killer if it wants to be. This mission is called Countdown to Armageddon. Starting off with this grenade here to just knock the field soldier into the water. And I just knocked, I did a jump knock there on Worm 2 as well, just so that they're both down there. This is going to manipulate this field soldier in the middle to fire at Worm 3. Now we're going to pray, that 3 does not knock Major out of position on this shot here. And just about got away with it. That's good. That means that we can do the optimum strat in this mission. Now you'll notice that there is a worm with quite a voluptuous hat in the very centre of the mission there. That worm is a VIP worm. It is the politician. The plot of this mission is we're actually supposed to protect the worm, not just from the enemy worms, of which there are quite a few, as you can see, but after turn 8 in this mission, there is a meteor shower that will basically just decimate the landscape. So what you're supposed to do in this mission is you're supposed to just lay a bunch of girders to try and protect the politician. What we're instead doing, though, is we're basically just killing off all the enemy worms before that turn even happens, because that counts as a much more satisfactory victory. Although saying that, there are some people who do miss the days when you got to see the Armageddon happen in this particular mission. Now, this pile here isn't quite as good as I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be more right aligned than that for this next move I'm going to try. It might still work, but we'll see how we go. So we're going to use a baseball bat. And yes, so we've got most of the worms over to the left-hand side there, but not all of them. What happens there is in doing that, like, one of the worms from the pile there actually dies. And if the whole pile goes in, usually that means that everyone else kind of just blows each other up with grave damage as well. However, not to be on this occasion, so we are going to have to improvise ever so slightly. But nothing to worry about. We have a spare ninja rope, which is good, so I'm going to use that to just drop a grenade here. Oh, and I did not want 3 to land there. This could be very bad now, depending on what the major intends to do. So, yeah, if the politician gets killed off, then that is a reset on this mission, unfortunately. And Major, although Worm 1 is nearby, I don't think the enemy worm has many close-range weapons on this one, so he might go for 3. Generally, they tend to ignore the politician. Well, that's a very odd compromise there. They do have a close-range weapon. They decided to go for Worm 3 instead. And they've actually forfeited their second shot. So that actually has worked out surprisingly well. And because of that, we're just going to kill off the Major with a cluster trick there. It's going to do way more damage on the Major than we actually need. But it's just a nice quick way of dealing with that. But yeah, that mission... If the enemies want to just destroy the politician for whatever reason, then they'll probably do so, and it is just horrible if that happens. This mission is called Mars Star. This is one of the only mission in the game actually where you actually get to use an infinite amount of weapons per turn. We're going to try and blow up the crate in the bottom right corner of the mission there. We're doing that with a couple of petrol bombs just to make a crater there, so that these 2 grenades here are going to just land in this hole, blowing up the oil drum next to the crate there. And that is the objective of the mission, completed very quickly. Yeah, probably the shortest mission in the game, that one, I think. This mission is called Mad Cows, and I'm going to start off with another nice little grenade trick here. So just popping the grenade to Major's left, and then get knocked in to the other Major like that, just knocking them both into the water, like so. And then what we're going to do with these 2 Majors here is we're going to try and coalesce them so that we can actually do a cluster trick on those 2. not necessarily the most interesting of strats in this mission. So again, Matt, if there's anything you want to say about donations, then now would be a good time to get that in.
Now that there are 42 viewers in the chat, hello to everyone. I would indeed again like to remind everyone that you can donate if you would like to. We are trying to raise money for the fantastic charity Special Effect. We have already managed to raise over £1,200, but why stop there? Why not try and reach our final stretch goal of £1,300? Heck, why not try to go even further than that? Because every pound that we manage to raise is another pound that goes towards helping disabled gamers play video games. And in my personal opinion, everyone deserves to be able to play video games. So why not donate and help that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, so here comes the cluster trick. Majors aren't necessarily at the best angle there for that to have paid off, so we might not get a one-shot on this. Yeah, okay, we're slightly short, so major there's not going to do 19 damage on the other major. But that's fine. As you can see, we've got a decent stock of weapons on this one, and we've got a couple of long-range ones. We've got airstrikers coming next turn, so that should be enough to kill worms off. And that crate there next to Worm 2 contains a weapon called a Mad Cow, which we're not going to get to use on this occasion, but it's very much a... Oh, my words! We actually missed the airstrike! Dang, that's a shame. Alright, we're going to have to use something else. We might actually use the Mad Cow after... Oh, no, he's going to blow up. Never mind. As you can see, the pained moo that came from the crate there as well. That's the cow basically saying, I wanted to have a cameo in this level. In that case then, I'm just going to make sure we don't miss the next shot here. I'm going to climb over this cow and we're going to fire just a plain old trusty bazooka down onto the major like that, just to be on the safe side. And speaking of bazookas, the next mission is absolute anathema for anyone who hates bazooka shots. This one is... Oh, whoopsie, screwed up my menu in there slightly. This one's called Bazooka on the Rocks. You only have bazookas as offensive weapons in this mission, so it's a bit of a pain. I'm going to line up a pixel perfect shot with a bazooka first of all. It's just going to send it up into the air. It's going to hit the left-hand captain there, knocking him into the right one, so they both fall onto this mine. The mine just knocks them back like that, and then the grave damage from one of the worms will kill off the other. Yeah, this is a particularly... This mission is another one that can be a bit of a run killer, and it all really hinges on the behaviour of this captain in the bottom left. Trying to get them with bazookas is not a particularly easy feat. Although that is an unusual move there. They don't usually blow up that crate there, but it does mean that Worm 2 and this oil drum here has been undisturbed, and that means we can use that to kill off this major. So we're going to use a very specific angle on this oil drum here to just shoot the bazooka. I say specific, it's literally straight ahead. And it knocks the major into the mine here, and just got 75 damage on them there. There's basically 4 different positions you have to learn on that oil drum for that move, depending on what strength and what direction the wind is in. So Captain there grabbing the first aid crate there. Now where Captain ends this turn is going to be pivotal, because we can potentially get a third... So, right, they are stood very close to the right there. And wow, that was a hell of a shot. That's knocked both worms 1 and 2 into the pit here. Not necessarily a problem, but it depends on how this goes. So we reset this mission once before I started it. That's because it contains a weapon. It drops a crate here, which contains a homing missile. Now, usually we can use this to knock the captain into the water, but I've got a horrible feeling that they are so far right on this one, it may not come off. Let's see. No. Okay, right. So I'm going to just reset this mission in that case, because it's going to be quicker than actually trying to go through that again. So as you can see, yes, this one can be quite the run killer, just purely due to that captain's behaviour. So we're going to do all these lovely moves all over again. Because basically the problem with this mission is there's very few good backup options if you don't get a 3-turner in. Like, you have a girder that you can use to go over the gap between this yak and the cliff there. But beyond that, it's still a really long pilgrimage to get over to the captain here. And because of that, like, it's pretty much just better to reset the mission if that happens. But it's annoying when that happens because there's literally nothing you can do about it. So, see if you can guess what angle we're going to use on the oil drum this time, based on the wind. Yeah, straight ahead again. Like, basically, if the wind's going to the left, then you can just fire from straight ahead at the top left angle, top left position on that oil drum. But if the wind's kind of going to the right, or if it's a bit weaker, then you have to sort of make minor adjustments to be able to change that shot. So let's see what the captain does this time. So the wind's going to the right, so that's okay. They've skipped a go there, so that's perfect, and they are in a good position here. And the first aid crate's still there as well, which means that we can just try this again. Just there's it's pixel perfect, the place there where you want to pop the crosshairs for this, and then it just blows them up, blows up the first aid crate next to them as well. And down they go. That's what should have happened in the previous mission, but they, as I say, their moves are so RNG influenced on this that, like, they can just do all sorts of things that just mess up the program. This mission's called Stolen Goods. I'm switching the background off of this first part because I'm going to ninja rope underneath the Microprose logo. Microprose being the former publishers of the game. And this is a nice little shortcut to get to our stolen goods, actually. The crates within the micro section of the logo are meant to be ours. It contains a very high-powered weapon, such as this French sheep strike that we've just grabbed for ourselves. And we very much need at least one of them, because these enemy worms mean business on this mission. So what I've done there is I've placed one in a very specific position there where I'll use the blowtorch to get into the O, by the way. I'll talk more about that weapon on the next mission. But so we've manipulated that field soldier into aiming the cluster bomb at Worm 1 there. That's quite pivotal because it enables me to select a backup for this if I need to. But the French sheep strike we're about to use, and it is a very high-powered weapon whereby it just drops 5 flaming sheep onto the field soldiers that bounce once, so you actually get 2 shots out of both of them. Can do a lot of damage. Now, I did it at a specific angle there because the bounce of the sheep is RNG heavy, but where I put it, sometimes the sheep can bounce to the right and knock off this right-hand field soldier, who's, as you can see, still survived there, but 60 HP isn't too bad on them. But this field soldier is the one that usually survives out of any sheep strike you do. So he's thrown a cluster bomb at us. Fortunately, cluster bombs aren't particularly accurate weapons when used the way that the field soldiers are using them there. So we're not going to be able to one-shot this field soldier, I don't think. Or actually, maybe we will. Let's try and be a bit cerebral about this if we can. So I'm going to use a shotgun here. First one, just going to shoot that terrain out of the way. And then second shot, there we are. Just going to knock them over the terrain like that and into the water. So there we are. We actually have a spare crate over by Worm 2 there that contains a homing pigeon, if we needed to use that, but didn't on this occasion. So this mission is called Sinking Ice Cap, although there's not really much water-based stuff you need to worry about here. What you do need to worry about, these enemy worms. So using a blowtorch as the weapon here, because although blowtorches are particularly weak, so are the enemy worms. And I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps across to this assassin here for a bit of AI manipulation we're going to attempt. So Worm 1 is on Assassin's head. This assassin is now going to try and airstrike Worm 1. However, as we do it, Worm 1 is going to fall off their head, hit the mine next to the assassin, and that's actually going to kill them off, interrupting the airstrike. So we actually made that assassin kill themselves. Now, ideally, what we wanted from the end of that turn was for our worm to take some more damage. We actually wanted them to end up with 7 HP or less. Now they didn't, so we're going to use a backup strat, which is another bit of AI manipulation. But basically what we're going to do, so we're going to just blowtorch this assassin. There, and then jump up onto the chimney, and I'm going to position my worm on the apex of this cottage, like so. So the right-hand assassin is going to die. Now, if this goes right, this assassin here is also going to attempt an airstrike. And there we go. So there, it hits our worm, blows up the flame crate, the oil drum rather, next to the assassin, knocking him onto the mine, killing himself off in the process as well. So we managed to kill off all 4 worms there, actually by making 2 of them kill themselves, which is quite satisfying.
I'll be off then.
Our worm dies as well, but who needs him? Now, next mission is one for the grenade fans. This one is called Aim Long, Aim True. Going to start off with a girder starter pack here for some very specific positions on the map, like so. Basically, like the shtick with this mission is you only have grenades to be able to kill off these enemy worms. Your worm cannot move, and the terrain is indestructible, so we're going to have to use some very specific shots here to actually kill off our worms. I'm just trying to find the right notch for this because I don't want to miss it. So here's the first shot. 5 seconds. Grenade up here. Going to bounce off this robot's shoulder, knocking the grenadier down rather, next to this grenadier. And the grave damage from this grenadier is going to do 13 damage to the grenadier next to them. Now we pop these girders up here, partly because it stops this grenadier from aiming at us. So they're just going to throw a waste shot over at the general there. But it also helps with the next move. So just firing another grenade there at the same angle, but slightly less power on that one. That's going to knock that grenadier into the other grenadier. And their grave damage is actually going to kill off that middle grenadier there. So that we actually managed to kill off the central grenadier without throwing a single grenade directly at them. We used just the worms around them in order to be able to pull that off. Then this general here cannot do anything in their current position, so because of that, we're going to be able to take advantage of that with our final shot. Tough one to line up this, so might take a couple of goes, but let's see how we do. Think that's it. Let's see how it goes. Throwing this grenade here, it bounces off the girder between these 2 girders and blows up the general, like so. So yeah, we managed to do that one in 4 turns, which is pretty much optimum for that one. This mission is called Goody Two Shoes. Bit of a misnomer, as there's 3 shoes in this one. Hope someone got fired for that blunder. This one is another shopper mission. We don't have much in the way of weapons to be able to deal with these enemies, but we do have an aqua sheep, and so we're going to use these sheep to try and collect 4 of these crates in order to help us complete the rest of the mission. However, this first part of the mission is just basically 3 turns worth of blowtorching so Worm 1 can get to the surface. So, Matt, if you have any quick donation-based things... Oh, hello. I wasn't expecting that cluster to kill him off. That's very nice. But yeah, if you do have any quick donation-based things you want to read out, then now's a good time.
We do indeed have one donation of £20 from Lambo. There was no comment associated, but thank you for the generous donation. If you guys do want to donate yourselves and have your messages read out live on stream, all you need to do is !donate in the chat. That will bring up the link that you need to click through to try and help support this fantastic charity Special Effect, so that gamers of any ability, whether that be disabled in terms of a mental disability or a physical disability, you will be helping them to play video games, and in my mind, that's a great thing.
It's absolutely a great thing. Also, thank you to Lambo, one of my favourite worms from Deathmatch, actually, alongside Vinnie Jones. So, very nice of him to take time out of Deathmatching to do that donation. So, we've got to the surface here. Well, we were at the surface. We've now been knocked knocked back. But we actually get a bonus crate there. I reset the mission once in order to trigger that, but we're probably not going to collect it. Right, so here comes Aqua Sheep time. So let's see if we can grab our crates. Yeah, just being very careful of this because I have messed this up before and it is a long old trek to deal with that if you mess that up. So, I got the 4 crates that I needed. I didn't quite get what I wanted to do with that field soldier right though. So what I do with that crate there, it contains a napalm strike. I don't usually tend to use it. What I do is I use it as a extra ammo just to blow up field soldier there, but actually what I did instead was I accidentally collected it. So, but that's fine. We've got we can very quickly just kill off this field soldier with a shotgun. I've got a spare shot here. I'm not going to do anything particularly useful with it, so I'm just gonna fire the second shot straight off, like so, and just I'm going to shelter again because the enemy worms in this mission are they're CPU 5, as you can see from the health bar at the bottom, and their shots can be pretty vicious in this one, so you have to do your best. And we probably are going to get hit by this as well because the wind is going to... Okay, not too bad. But yeah, this is one of the few where you actually do kind of need to worry about your health sometimes, just because it can get pretty ugly. So using Ninja Rope. Ninja Rope is one of the weapons we got from the crates over there, as is the baseball bats. Usually I would need to use both of them in this mission, but because one of the worms got killed off right at the beginning of this, then I actually didn't need to. And then this major should take the next turn, and they should walk to the right as a result, and that will line both of these worms up for the final turn that we are going to take, which is with the airstrike, which I'm going to use by selecting this part. Where is it? Where's the pixel? There it is. There we go. Popping them down there. It just knocks both the major and the field soldier into the water, like so. So we're on to the penultimate mission of the run now. This one is called Trouble in Toy Store. Not the toy store, just Toy Store. Starting again with another pixel perfect grenade strat, by the way. Here it goes. 4 seconds up into the air, and that should, if we get it right, take out both the grenadier and artillery in one go, like so. Something you'll notice about a lot of these pixel perfect strats is we do them at full power, and this is just because it makes them easier to replicate. That's also why we sometimes bounce grenades or cluster bombs off of the ground rather than straight up, because you can do that at full power, whereas trying to do like a half power or a 3/4 power shot, very bad. I just noticed Captain has not gone into the position I wanted him to there, and I'm just going to do a reset on that, because you'll see why in a moment. Basically that Captain needs to go into a very specific position in order to make the first turn work. So we're doing that grenade strat again. You'll notice I actually overshot the teddy bear's ear there as a result, but you can still get the same grenade shot in as a result of that. The visual cue isn't quite as clear. It's better to do it on the ear if you can, but if you fall off like I just did, that shot still works as long as you get the right angle. Now this is where I wanted Captain to walk, basically. It's walked right to the right hand side of the teddy's ear, and that's good because that sets up the next move, which is the last real RNG move of the game here. This is a cluster trick, but we're actually doing it long distance. So we're actually going to throw the cluster from here. So 1 second shot over there, blows up underneath the Captain, knocking them into the minefield, like so. And oh, we actually one-shotted the Captain, and I think the grave damage should kill the sniper. Perfect. There we go. So that was a good reset we did on that mission there, because it meant we actually got the god RNG on that particular move. Sometimes if that doesn't one-shot them, then you can use backups like mortars, which I'm not really that happy about doing, because mortars are the worst weapons in the game by far. They're like a full-strength missile that just drops clusters onto the worms, but they're very, Very RNG heavy. This mission, by the way, you notice there's a scientist. There's the second VIP we have to protect in the run. They're looking a bit sick as well. And that is because they've been poisoned. So they lose 3 damage between each turn. Although they don't actually die from that. The HP will only go as low as 1. But yeah, that assassin below is trying to kill the worm off. So I was just trying to make sure I got that move right there. Because that gap that they made with the Uzi does allow us to get through to the assassin. But I just did a little pixel perfect positioning on Worm 3 there with that dynamite. Just to ensure that if it wasn't wide enough that they'd be able to blow a hole through it. And what was I going to say? I can't remember. It's fine. We're nearly at the end of the run. It's all good. Oh, yeah. So we basically just put that dynamite there so that we can get down to assassin quickly, because otherwise it just takes ages in order to do so. And how much health does... 57 health. Right, do you know what? I don't normally do this, but we've actually got a spare holy hand grenade. And so just as a nice little treat for you all, we're going to use this. We wouldn't normally use this, but here's your last chance to sing along if you know the words. And away he goes into the water, like so. Normally we just use a cluster trick or a Uzi, but we're in a marathon, so I thought, let's treat ourselves. And here we are now with the final mission of the run. This one is called Spectral Recovery. The object of this mission is there is a crate that is going to fall to the left of the battlefield after several turns. We need to grab this girder, this crate with a girder in the very middle, in order to place a platform for it to land on. Now, you can very easily do that just by having worms 1 and 2 like blowtorch to the crate drop position and the girder respectively. We're actually going to do something a little bit more dangerous but quicker if we get it right. We're actually going to kill off all the enemy worms. So starting off here with a 2-second max bounce grenade on the captain. And apologies, you're not going to get to see a huge amount of what's going on here, but the grenade there knocked the captain into the water, and then I had my worm throw himself into the worm on the right hand side of the battlefield just to knock them into the water like so. And then I positioned one in a very specific position here so that it actually manipulates this captain here into walking all the way down the side of this authentic Worms Armageddon ZX Spectrum cassette tape that this terrain is made of here. They're going to do an airstrike on Worm 1. You did your best. And now we're going to use captain's position to our advantage, whereby we're going to use a blowtorch to just knock him into the water like that. And you're probably looking at that thinking, right, well, mission's over. All the enemy worms are dead. But it's not, because we still have to save the crate. So what happens now is, because we killed off all of the enemy worms in the battlefield, we basically just get all of the enemy turns for ourselves. So because of that, we're going to just use that to get the girder. We're going to head up to the top left of the mission area, and then we're going to set up the girder and just skip go until the crate gets there. So it's a bit of a subdued ending to the run. Not exactly whiz-bang fireworks compared to some of the other missions, but it's nice to have a little bit of laid-back time to ourselves to end this run. Come on, get up there, you silly boy. So I'm going to use this time actually just to do some shout-outs before we wrap up this run here. So first of all, I have to say big shout-out to Mablack, who is the current world record holder for this run, and also Deathmatch as well. Absolutely fantastic Worms Armageddon speedrunner. Highly recommend that you check out their stuff. Thank you to everyone who's also just worked on this run over the years and made it nice and shiny. Shout out to Dead Code, to Lex, to Psychotropic, to Peachy, to many other people who I'm sure I'm forgetting. Yeah, Worms Armageddon speedrunning community is fantastic. It's relatively new. I feel like we've only really kind of like got into gear with this run like this year, I feel like, but it's a great run. I really hope that more people get interested in doing the game, as a result of this run in the community we got. And yeah, if you have any questions about how to do the run at all, then check out the Discord. That's the last skip go that we have. Here comes the crate. We're going to grab that, and then time is when the congratulations screen comes up, which is now. And that is Worms Armageddon. All missions, any percent completed. And I'd be interested to know what the time was on that, Matt, if you can see that information at all.
Yeah, my timer reads 1 hour, 17 minutes and 47 seconds, though that may be off a little bit because of delay.
Okay. I thought that might possibly be a PB, but I think that's probably short by a few seconds there, but never mind. That was still not a bad run, I felt. So thank you very much, UKSM, for having me. Very much appreciated. Anything you want to say, Matt?
Indeed, we actually got 2 donations towards the end of that run.
Excellent.
One was from Trapshot for £10. It reads, "All the best with the last part of the run, Ruff. Give those worms what for."
Thank you.
Then we also have £10 from the Abysmal Kraken. It says, "Let's smash this next goal," and indeed we will. We're only £55 away. I bet we can do it.
Excellent. Oh yes, thank you. Oh, sorry. Go
with
on.
that all said, we will. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you once again for having me. Also, just wanted to quickly shout out my channel, RuffledBricks, twitch.tv/RuffledBricks, if you want to see more speedruns based on cartoony graphics games like this and Lemmings Paintball, then do hit me up. And I forgot to shout out the Lemmings Paintball crew as well yesterday, so shout out to Dr. Entropy and Stubbsy. Thank you very much for all your support on this. Anyway, over to you, Matt.
Yeah, we will be going over to our intermission. The next run is going to be Stevie Blue _ with The Evil Within 2 in any NG Plus category. So please do stick around for that. It'll be going live in about 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'll be showing you some videos from the brilliant special effect, just showcasing what they do. So we'll be back very soon.